So a while back I did a video talking about the upcoming live-action remake of Bambi. I also did it in there talking about why it's my favorite movie of all time, because Bambi is my favorite film of all time, and I did that long video there. If you want to check that out, I'll put it to a link in the corner. I basically said with the live-action remake, if they just keep it simple, keep the timeless factor to it, keep it so that it doesn't have to pull in modern-day references or try to be too hip to the kids, just like some of these other really bad Disney live-action remakes we've gotten over the last couple of years have done, then I think this has a chance. And they got a good director to do it. They got Sarah Polley, who had done Women Talking. So that was kind of my I was very optimistic going into this. And then there was a story that came out this week on comingsoon.net when they talked to the writer of the Bambi remake, Lindsey Anderson Beer, who's writing and directing Pet Sematary Bloodlines, but was also the writer for Chaos Walking, which, yeah, definitely not a good start there, but, you know, she was asked about the remake, and basically, all you had to do was just basically say the right things. Don't get me wound up, or get anybody wound up by trying to do something completely stupid and trying to do the one thing that you shouldn't do with this film. So the article begins. Bambi co-writer Lindsey Anderson Beer says the upcoming Disney live-action remake will update the story to make it more relatable to children. Right there! Right there! You have completely missed the point that I was making back in July. But, my God, it's just like... I'll keep going. In a recent interview with Collider, Beer spoke about the upcoming live-action Bambi remake that's currently in the works. She said, not to spoil the plot, but there's a treatment of the mom dying in the original film that I think some parents these days, are more sensitive about than they were in the past. And I think that's one of the reasons they haven't showed it to their children. Let that sink in for a little bit, because we're going to get into that in just a little bit, so stick around. Regarding how the live-action movie will address this plot point, Beer said, I do think there is a way to update Bambi, and our take on it did give a little bit more of a scope to it. And I just think that to be able to bring into life the kids these days in a way that maybe they relate to a little bit more would be of service to the original. And then they could talk about what the remake that was in development and say that the movie will be a musical featuring songs by Casey Musgraves, and it's still considered to be early development. So where the hell do I even begin with what is wrong with this entire thing? Well, right off the bat, we're updating the story to make it more relatable to children. You don't have to do that. The original film did that just fine. Like, the original film has been that same way for over 80 years now, and now you're going to come in and be like, well, let's make it more relatable to children. Let's have some more... It's like they're going to ruin this movie. Like, they're going to destroy this film. And I wouldn't be as upset about this as I am, but you're dealing with my favorite film of all time here. So, of course, I'm going to be a little bit more frustrated, a little more angry about what I'm hearing here, because this has to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Like I said, you're doing the one thing that you should not be doing with this movie, and that's modernizing it. You tried to do that with Pinocchio by having, let's call him an influencer, and let's call him Chris Pine, because we need to make these modern references, or else kids will not get the gist of what we're trying to say here. Which, yeah, and look at how well that Pinocchio movie held up. Not well. Not well at all. But this is ridiculous. Not to spoil the plot, there's a treatment of the mom dying that I think some parents these days are more sensitive about than they were in the past. Lady, you clearly have not been around a lot of parents who I don't understand what the hell you were trying to say with that. Like, what's wrong with the way the mom dies in the original film? Just to kind of remind you of that, if you haven't seen Bambi, which it's a shame that you haven't, but, let me kind of remind you what exactly happens in that particular scene that we're talking about here. It's the most famous scene of the movie. So let's talk about this, shall we? So there's this. So of course, the scene Bambi's mother gets killed by gunshot by a man, and I love the reason why I love this scene so much is because it doesn't just come out and say, "Hey, Bambi's mother's dead." It lets the audience take in the fact that something horrible has just happened. As Bambi consistently keeps calling out to his mother and never hears an answer back. And then, all out of nowhere, the Great Princess just comes out and simply tells him, your mother can't be with you anymore. And then the sudden realization from him that his mother has died, and he's just taking it all in with the snow covering the majority of the screen, the single teardrop coming from Bambi's eye. It's a moment that I still go back and look at every single time. It's a great moment. It's one of the best single scenes of animation I've ever seen, and I like the way that it plays it out. It doesn't just get it out in the open for you. And you're going to sit there and tell me that you think that kids and parents are going to be too sensitive to that stuff? I thought they played it out as well as they could have. Like, I don't know what you think your idea of sensitivity is, and this idea that you have to have that type of thing going on here. And it's just like, it makes no sense at all why that's something that it's just kind of like, it makes no sense whatsoever. And like if you want to say the one thing that you should do is not immediately cut to happy music like in the original film, then okay, I can buy into that. Or you know what? Bring in some elements from Bambi too. Like I've said before, like after the scene where Bambi's mother gets shot, I always think, I say stop the movie and then put on Bambi 2 and then go back to the movie, and it works as a much better transition. But the way she's saying this and the way she's making this seem to be is that people are so offended by this scene, and that's not the case. Like, you clearly have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And like, I just hate this idea that that they're gonna modernize Bambi, and like, it's just gonna ruin what should be a simple thing to do. Like, you know, why stop at Bambi's mother dying? Why not just completely have it be a modern-day Disney live-action movie? Let's just have those pop culture references all throughout the film. Let's talk about those buzzwords, you know, influencers, TikTokers, you know. Let's have the woodpeckers be TikTokers. And you know what? Let's put the icing on the cake on this whole thing. Instead of man, let's have woman. Like, because man is so 1940s, and let's have her played by Taylor Swift, because she is the epitome of everything of 2023 right now. I just wrote this freaking movie for Disney. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go and kill myself. Like, because you know that's what they're going to do. That's what, you know, they're thinking about that right now. I'm sure there's a Disney executive right now going, this guy might be onto something here. And the point of that was that I was not trying to get you to go to something like that, but this frustrated me so much. And I go more into depth about what I think they should do for this movie in that other video I did, but hearing that just like irked me to no end. That just made me the most mad out of anything that happened this week. That Disney still does not get it with their live action remakes. Like, every once in a while you get a little gem here and there, but most of them have not been that good. And I don't know why you think you can do every single live action Disney film and try to make live action version of a Disney animated classic and think that that's going to appeal to anybody, and it's just not. And what you're doing here is like completely ruining one of the great animated films of all time. The artistry in the original Bambi still holds up after all these years, and they're going to ruin it. They're going to ruin it in a way that I think it's going to really, it's going to push a lot of people away from Disney at that point. It would not be surprising if it did the same thing to me, because you're messing with my favorite film of all time. And so, yeah, I'm going to be more upset about this because of that, but at the same time, it's not really that surprising that they're doing this, honestly. The more I think about it, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have anything more to say about that. The only positive I can say for this is that it's still in early development, so maybe cooler heads will prevail. Maybe the writing maybe they just won't get through this project altogether. Let's hope that's the case, because man, what this is sounding like right now is not good. Yeah. So that's how Disney's gonna update Bambi for a new generation, and I'm sorry, I need to go kill myself again.